going 5, 4, 3, 2. Krista Raymer, the all-important car studio today. How are you?
I love a car studio.
The truth is, you're just sitting in front of your house in a car, so it looks like you're busy.
You know, I'm just having a good time. Who doesn't love sitting in a car in the cold? Love
I
it.
don't even understand. I don't, there's this whole genre of videos of people sitting in their car as if they're so busy they're like driving somewhere. I was like, if you're so busy, wouldn't you be working in your home office? But that's just me. I don't know.
I'll give you the hint though. The lighting in a car is very good.
Yeah.
And I actually think that that's why
Oh,
most people record them in a car. And also, movement is very good. So there's a lot of like talking head with background to movement, and that tends to be super engaging. I think that's
yeah.
why.
It's okay. It's okay. I'd
Okay.
be better if they were like doing it on a bike or on a subway, but maybe that's just hippie me.
Well, I expect the next one to be recorded while you're on the subway then.
It's about, not bad. They have internet on the subway sometimes now. Krista, yesterday
Okay.
or earlier this week, you being Vetrina, posted something that I've talked to you about before, but I always find interesting and wanted to share. And that is the difference. So I'm a bud
Yeah.
tender. You come into my store and I ask you a question that is closed versus opened. Give me the difference, and then we'll talk about sort
hmm
of why it matters so much.
Yeah, an open question is going to be something that leaves the customer all the options to explore in their answer. And a closed question is going to narrow down where the answer can exist. And a lot of the time, I think when we first start talking about open or closed questions, or maybe like early in people's career, it really starts up as like a closed question is a yes, no answer, and an open ended questioning is something that gets you more than that. But in reality, when you're on a sales floor, if you're a bud tender or a leadership team working with retail stores, an open ended question gives total freedom to the customer to take the conversation wherever they want to take it. Whereas a closed question is going to lead them down a direction. So, an example of this is an open ended question would be like, what brought you in today? You have no idea why the customer is coming into the store, and it leaves them every option to answer. A closed question would be like, what do you want to smoke today? It's like we've gone down a path that like making the assumption that smoking is the avenue to which we want to consume today. And so it can really have long-term impacts in the way that the conversation plays out in store. And we aren't doing a very good job of like training this as an industry within the teams that work in stores.
Yeah. And especially among people, the product is almost always different when you come into a store. Each store sort of handles sales differently. Like getting at the heart of sort of what brought you in versus like what are you looking to buy are very different things. And I've heard you talk about this before, where
Yes.
what brought you in today can open up the conversation to, of course, like what products they're looking for, but also like the set and setting in which they're going to be buying for, like a whole bunch of different range of,
Yeah.
and not only helps with that purchase, but also might help you as a seller on on the sales floor, like how to build a basket for that specific customer.
Yeah, I often walk into a store and hear a bud tending team ask me, like, how do I want to consume today? Okay, that's kind of interesting. It leaves it open enough for me to go into different categories. But even in the way that we start the conversation there, we make the assumption that the product is for me
Right.
and that I am the one consuming. But what if I'm coming into the store and purchasing for somebody else or for a group of friends, even that I'm going to be part of it? So we make a lot of assumptions in the way that we ask questions, or in the way that we ask a question, we lead a customer to answer in a particular way, which closes off aspects of a sale. And so in that specific example, it's like, what are you wanting to consume today? I might say pre-rolls, even though I know in the back of my head I'm buying pre-rolls for a group of people that are all going to a concert together.
Nice.
Whereas if it's like, what brought you in today? I'm going to a concert and I want to grab some pre-rolls for some friends. We are starting the conversation from two very different positions. And it's like, well, how many friends, how many pre-rolls do we need? Whereas on the other side, I might have been sold a smaller pack size, or like even potentially only offered one. And so we have a number of biases that are built into the conversation early if we don't get to the bottom of like set and setting and what is leading the customer to come into the store.
It really sets the tone, as Shorzy would say.
It really does. But the problem is that like sales based training is often focused on features and benefits and product education and understanding everything that we need to know about the plant to be able to sell it. And I'm not arguing that that isn't an important aspect, but you can only layer that information into a well-grounded conversation. And so if we aren't having good conversations with the team, are we and we're not leading them to have good conversations with the customer, do we ever make the right product recommendation in the end anyways? And so if this is really about connecting customers with the right products, we have to better understand the customer to be able to share the relevant features and benefits and information about the individual products when selling them.
Amen to that. Krista, I'm going to give a plug that people should follow Vetrina on LinkedIn because you guys are always putting out bite-sized gems on there all the time. And I actually saw someone just comment that they're looking for more from you on LinkedIn, but also get in touch with Krista and her
Oh
team
no.
because yeah, I was like, oh yeah, well, okay, there's more coming. Just tune into today. But Krista, I want to thank you because I think this is like almost a foundational skill that every bud tender, everybody who works in sales across any industry really should sort of make part of their lives actually, because it really is important. And it also
Mhm.
falls in line with sort of, I mean, this is funny. If you expand it, it's like how therapists ask questions. Like never ask a closed question, always ask an open-ended
Yes.
question. It's a good life lesson as well.
Yeah. Yeah, there's actually another little tidbit fact when asking questions is like also ask fact-based questions.
Yeah.
So, like, never ask a question in a retail store about why. Like, why do you like that product? But it is like, what about that product do you like? It leads the customer to give you facts and makes a customer also feel less exposed. So if I'm like,
Hmm.
Jay, why did you come in today? And you're like, obviously, I'm here to buy weed. Like,
Yes.
that's it starts the tone of a conversation differently and also gets down to what is really important to the customer. So open-ended questions, but also what versus why based questions can be like incredibly impactful for a bud tending team is really simple direction that leads to much better engagement on the sales floor.
Krista, with that, I'm going to let you get on your way because clearly you're either on your way somewhere or on your way in somewhere because you're in the car. I appreciate your time, energy, insight today. We'll be back next Thursday with Krista. We'll be back tomorrow with our program, which is called This Week in Cannabis News, powered by Dutchy. That's Friday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern. Krista, thank you for joining us here today, and we'll see you. You're not coming here today, but you're in your car. Maybe you'll stop by and say hi.
Maybe. Okay, I'll talk to you next week, Jay.
Thanks, Krista.